4 de marzo del 2010, Día de Acción Estatal contra los recortes a la educación.
I just want to thank you all for showing up. There's three things that I said in the beginning that I want you all to remember, and I want you all to encourage others to do. I want you guys to stay informed, get involved, and make a difference. That being said, we have our closing speakers. We have Julio Soriano that's going to discuss the DREAM Act. Julio Soriano, everybody.
Thank you. I'm very glad that you guys are still here fighting on in the sun. My name is Julio Soriano and I am a member of Latinos Unidos of Napa. Today is a day when the voices of students, teachers, and workers will be heard. Today is a day when students will fight for their education, for we know that education is the most powerful tool and weapon. It is the weapon used to fight injustice, discrimination, and oppression. It is a weapon used to build solidarity and empower the masses. It is a weapon that empowers us by making us proud of where we come from, proud of our individual uniqueness and our similarities in culture. It is a weapon that allows us to adjust to change and to bring forth that change. It is a weapon that cannot be taken away. However, this is not always the case for all people. Take myself as an example. I was born in another country, one of many other countries that have been conquered centuries ago and reconquered decades ago by global powers that exploit our natural resources and our human labor. I was born in one of many countries where resources were reallocated to benefit the few, where our own natural wealth cannot feed our own people, but rather get sold to the highest bidder. I was born in one of many other countries, and then for reasons that I could not understand at the time, I was forcefully relocated, for my parents believed it was best to do so. I was thrown into a new society where I was bombarded with messages that made me feel ashamed of my heritage and my philosophy. As displaced people, we fight to integrate in a new society while being true to our roots. However, this is very difficult for those of us that are considered undocumented immigrants. I know such students who see no hope in their future, students who feel hopeless and alienated because higher education is unaffordable and even unattainable. There is some financial aid for such students, but it is limited. Students see no point in pursuing a higher education, let alone graduating from high school. For these reasons, I speak today to address the issue of equal education. As we speak, people across the nation are fighting to pass the DREAM Act. If passed, the DREAM Act will allow U.S. race students to apply for federal financial aid, fighting to pass the DREAM Act. If passed, the DREAM Act will allow U.S. race students to apply for federal financial aid and will allow them to pay. The DREAM Act will provide an opportunity for U.S. race students to earn citizenship. The DREAM Act would allow certain immigrant students to adjust their status to that of legal permanent resident on a conditional basis for 6 years based on the following requirements. Immigrant students must have entered the U.S. before the age of 16. Students must have been accepted for admission in a 2- or 4-year institution or of higher education, or have earned a high school diploma or a GED. Students must reside in the U.S. when the law is enacted, and in addition, those eligible must have lived in the U.S. for at least 5 years preceding the date of enactment of the Act. An immigrant student must demonstrate good moral character. In general, students will have no criminal record. So let us reclaim education for all of us. Today we will march as one entity and show that we will not disfranchise our youth and our future generation by barring them from an unattainable education. Hoy marcharemos unidos como una identidad y vamos a demostrar que nos importa la educación del futuro y de las generaciones que vienen adelante. Gracias.
El arte es acción.